Hi, we doing this? Hello, everybody. How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday evening. It is Wednesday, March 20th, and I appreciate you guys riding with me. My name is Mark. If this is the first time watching one of my videos, just want to let you guys know that I'm a Denver native, born and raised, huge Broncos fan, huge Avs fan, and a huge Nuggets fan. And I'm really creating this channel just to make it a fun public forum where we can have random people. Anybody is free to join, hop on the channel. We can debate, we can discuss whatever it is that you want to talk, and we'll get everybody involved. So that's always the vision for the channel as we go through. So a couple topics to get into today is, it's always about Broncos right now. It's always about Broncos quarterback situation. What's going to happen? Who are they going to draft? All that stuff. That's essentially what everybody seems to be talking about. And something that I think is always interesting to look at is really trying to read as much you can through the tea leaves, right? So when you saw what Sean Payton talked about at the combine, it was pretty obvious that Jerry Jeudy was probably going to be shopped. Something that we had talked about on my Twitter feed as well. It was pretty obvious that Russ was gone at that point, and that they were going to turn over every single stone possible to be able to find the quarterback that they're looking for. And I know with Sean Payton, when you have an ego the size of Sean Payton's ego, there is a party that always believes that you can mold a quarterback to kind of fit to make him exactly what it is that you want, right? I mean, listen, I know Drew Brees was an unbelievable talent, and I think he probably would have been a Hall of Famer regardless. But I feel like there's a part of Sean Payton that truly believes that he is the reason that Drew Brees put together this Hall of Fame career. And you can't say that he's wrong. You obviously can't say that he's right. You'll never really know. It's kind of the Brady Belichick debate, which has kind of taken its course in a pretty obvious direction there. So I think that they were just a really good fit together. And in a way, I'm kind of happy that when Jarrett Stidham started the last two games of the year, it didn't really look much different than it did when Russ was the quarterback. There's a couple different factors that I think went into it. But if Jarrett Stidham just absolutely balled out of his mind, then you could pretty much say, hey, he's going to be the starter this year. But when you read through the tea leaves and you kind of look back on last offseason, right after free agency when they had actually signed Stidham, Sean Payton talked a lot about, man, we really liked this guy. We looked at all the backup quarterbacks and we felt like he was the best one. And he also is somebody that projects to be a starter, to be able to be a starter in this league. And he did reference that game that he played when he was with the Raiders versus the number one defense in San Francisco. And I watched that. I remember watching that game. I was like, man, this guy's playing out of his mind. And I went back and watched it a couple times. And then I watched it again today. And I'll tell you, like, the guy was balling out of his mind that game. He was absolutely going crazy. He just didn't even care. He was just going out there throwing. Now, it helps when you have Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams bailed him out on a couple throws. But the guy blew up. And it got me thinking, you know, after I've been thinking about it a while, it's probably not that are we being too optimistic that the Broncos are 100% going to take a first-round quarterback? It seems like it. I'm all about it. But a part of me really thinks, man, they might just see how this draft, turns out and be able to maybe get a quarterback in the middle rounds that can come in and maybe develop, and then sign Ryan Tannehill and just have this quarterback competition and ride it out. Now, listen, I will preface by saying I hate that idea, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he just said, you know what? We kind of invested a lot in Stidham last year. He was my hand-picked guy, for lack of better words. Why not roll with him, especially because they are at 12 going to be in a situation where they can get a top 7 player in this draft, because a lot of the quarterbacks are going to be going. I mean, I'm expecting 4 quarterbacks in the top 6 picks, right? And so that makes, Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, Joe Alt, Brock Bowers, right? As guys that'll be there at 12. And those guys some of them are projected to be top 7, top 8 picks. And so I can see a situation, maybe he talks himself into just getting somebody that is really going to bolster the talent and the overall effectiveness of the offense, right? And I mean, when you look at Rome Odunze, that guy is, I think he has the potential to definitely be the best receiver in this draft. I mean, he's got crazy talent. Same with Malik Neighbors. I don't think Malik Neighbors really has a chance to get 12 regardless. But Brock Bowers, let me tell you something about Brock Bowers. All right. And I've never been a big proponent of taking tight ends that early. But I did say in the past, in the last video, I said tight end, like the best teams, the best offenses in the NFL usually have a very, very elite tight end or somebody that can just absolutely crush it, be a mismatch nightmare. And Brock Bowers takes that to the complete next level. He's an unbelievable fit in every offense, especially Sean Payton's offense. And he would be a quarterback's dream. I think he's probably the best tight end prospect to come out in God knows how long. I think there was a lot more hype around Kyle Pitts because he was just unbelievably fast. He's a freak athlete, and he was decent production wise in Florida. But I'm really not surprised that he's not doing that well in the NFL. And I think that everybody's going to have these sky high expectations with him, with Kirk in Atlanta. But I would not be surprised if he just ends up being okay, right? Because you either are a baller or you're not. And he kind of gives me Jerry Jeudy vibes, where it's a lot of hype, a lot of looks great in training camp, toasting guys fast, blah, 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 runs good routes. But then ultimately, he's just not a gamer. We'll see. I'm not rooting for that, obviously. But I don't want anybody to think, oh, Kyle Pitts, look what happened when they took him high. Brock Bowers is another level. The guy just catches everything. He's a bully. He runs through people. He's fast. He's explosive. He is a dream to be on this offense. So I was thinking about it. A dream draft scenario, without a doubt, would to figure out a way, get back into the top of the first round, or somehow get in the first round. And you can do it. If you really wanted to make it happen, you could do it. You could trade Bowles, you could trade a future one, you could trade Sutton and some picks to move up. It can happen, and you just got to obviously find some takers. But to be able to get, Bo Nix or Michael Penix in addition to Brock Bowers would be a pipe dream. But if you look at the potential for Jarrett Stidham starting, right? It's something that is really not too crazy to think about, I think that he's somebody that really does fit what Sean Payton wants to do. He's going to be going into year 2 in the system, so he's going to be a lot more comfortable. He's going to really understand. He's got some, good chemistry with the receivers that are there now. And I think with an improved run game and some improved young weapons, using Marvin Mims more, maybe adding a guy like a Rome Odunze or a Brock Bowers can really be a huge asset. And the offense might be functioning pretty good. Like I really think that you can win 8-9 games if Jarrett Stidham is your starting quarterback, for sure. But the thing is you got to think towards the future, right? Is he going to be your franchise quarterback? No, I don't think so. I mean, it's the chances of that happening are so slim. So I don't know, man. I keep going back and forth with this, and I think it's pretty wild. But I'd love to see what you guys think. What do you think is going to happen, and what obviously do you want to happen? Because I think those are two things I always struggle to be able to separate, right? Like, I really do believe that Sean Payton is going to move heaven and earth to get his quarterback. I think he fell in love with somebody in this class, and I think he's going to explore every single opportunity to go up and get him. But if it's just not realistic, if it's just not something that's going to be able to happen, right? We've said this before. If it's Drake May and they need to move up to 3, and there's nothing that you can offer New England to move to 3, then he might just pivot. He might just be like, yeah, I like Bo Nix, but not at 12. And if he's not in love with him, he won't do it. So there's a really big possibility there too. And I think he would be fine rolling with Stidham because, like I said, he's comfortable with him. He handpicked him last year. He got a couple games under his belt, but now he's going to go, like I said, go into year 2 in a much more comfortable system. And that ego of Sean Payton is kind of, it's going to be like the devil on the shoulder that I was saying. You can make this guy something special, and you could draft Spencer Rattler, who is really intriguing in the middle rounds. Even though I think drafting a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round it's stupid. It's a waste because you're significantly decreasing your chances that your quarterback's going to hit. But you can find guys at other positions that actually have good hit rates and can be starters immediately. So I'm intrigued by him, but I think it would be dumb. But I mean, who knows? Michael Pratt is somebody they've talked about way before this process started. Is somebody that just absolutely fits what Sean Payton wants to do, and there's a connection with him being down there at Tulane. So it's going to be wild. It's going to be a stressful few weeks. But I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited, and I'm going to be live streaming the draft. Obviously, have a nice bottle of scotch, a nice bottle of tequila ready, and we're going to be vibing out and seeing what's going on. As for some additional Broncos news, we did have a couple signings. I told you guys that there's a few coming, and one of them was interesting to me. So, re-signing Justin Sternad was extremely interesting for me because I kind of forgot about him. I didn't even really think about him bringing back, but he did one of those things where he was committing to the Panthers. I was like, cool, good for him, man. Great special teams guy, whatever. Hopefully, he got the money, and he had a change of heart and came back to Denver, exactly like Will Lutz did. And some people are going to say it's not a big deal, but guys, it's a really big deal, man. Like I'm telling you, players, and you can look back at what players said back in New Orleans. Players love to play for Sean Payton. They just love it, man. It seems like they really believe in what he does, the culture he wants to bring, and they just enjoy playing for him. And then in the case of Justin Sternad, I think he sees the vision that they have for him at the special teams, the vision that he can, have to potentially start. He likes the locker room, he's comfortable there. And so for another player to have that change of heart and do a flip and come back and say, no, you know what, I do want to play in Denver. Grass isn't always greener on the other side is really, really big news. I think it's awesome. So it kind of makes me think maybe the fact that Sutton is a little bit unhappy and maybe it's a little bit overblown. I think he's a little bit of a diva. Makes sense. I mean, I get it. Wide receivers are diva sometimes, and he wants to win. He's been with the Broncos for several years now, and he wants to win. I get it, but I think he'll be able to super look past it, given the fact that they've obviously shown commitment to him, and they'll be able to get some sort of an offense going around him, and hopefully get him a quarterback that's can maximize what it is that he does, but. If it's me, I would have traded Sutton for sure a while ago and just redid that entire room. But we'll see how it's gonna go. But I mean, guys, think about it. A wide receiver, a pass catcher room that has Sutton and Tim Patrick and Marvin Mims, hopefully Hunter Renfrow. But those three guys, and then adding a guy like a Brock Bowers, man, and if Dulcich somehow, some way ends up being healthy, right? That is some crazy good youth that you can mess with, man. And these are guys that can all do different things very well. So I think you're gonna have a really well-rounded receiver room. And another thing that I want to touch base on, and maybe I'll make a completely separate video of this, is the running back room. I think the running back room needs an overhaul as well. I've always said paying a free agent running back big money is really a big waste, and it's never a good investment. But this was one of those years where I would have been intrigued for them to maybe make a play for somebody like a Tony Pollard or a Josh Jacobs or even a Saquon Barkley. Didn't think they were going to do it, but it kind of would have made sense given we need some sort of an influx in a really, really good run game, whether we have Stidham starting or whether we bring in a rookie. So we need to look into that as well and just really find ways to be able to get our run game a lot better, because I think that there was a lot of situations last year. And man, kudos to the Javonte Williams for even playing last year and starting the season, not even being limited, is one of the craziest medical stories. I mean, if you really understand what happened to that guy's knee, tearing multiple ligaments, essentially the entire back part of his knee. To give you guys an idea, J.K. Dobbins had the exact same injury. And J.K. Dobbins did not return he missed an entire next season before he finally ended up returning. And this guy just missed like 8 months and came back and just started balling out. But he did not play well. They wanted to play him. I get it. He gutted it through. He didn't look like himself. His vision was off. He was missing a lot of holes. It just didn't look good. It didn't look that good with him a lot. And then Samaje Perine would kind of come in and do his thing at the end of games. Jaleel McLaughlin was by far and away the best running back that we had. And I think he's the best running back that we have moving forward. But I'm interested to see what they do with that room. It doesn't seem like they're going to do much. This is not really the best running back draft class. I mean, I think we'll still take one. And you can take backs in the fifth, sixth, seventh round that can start for you right away. But I think we need to find out a way to revamp that as well to be able to become a little bit more explosive. But I mean, like I said, guys, Brock Bowers, Marvin Mims, Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton, that's a pretty damn good uh, pass catching room. And then, you can't forget guys like Jalen Virgil, who've got a lot of potential. Brandon Johnson is my boy, who's got a lot of potential. Love that guy. So you've got a lot of potential in youth and guys that I think are going to get good opportunities. I think you can get a lot out of that room. And I think it's a good room for a rookie, and I think it's a good room for somebody like a Stidham, or if we bring in a Tannehill, whatever. But let me know what you guys think. I'm curious. I'd love to find out your thoughts on this and just the overall state of the Broncos roster. It's not very good, I can tell you that, but it's not nearly as bad as what some of these reports came out with, saying that we have like the 31st or 30th ranked overall roster. I don't buy it. I think that we have a lot of guys that are solid, or there are a lot of guys that are like solid and have really, really high ceilings still. I look at the edge room, for example. People say, "Oh, the pass rushes that they have, because we don't have anybody elite." But like Jonathan Cooper is somebody that gets better every single year. Nick Bonito is going to continue to make huge strides. I mean, what he did from year one to year two is huge, and the guy has that potential to be an explosive pass rusher. Baron Browning is an absolute stud. So there's just a lot of guys that are good, but they're not going to be like these household names yet. And maybe they'll make names for themselves. And then Jaquan McMillian, one of my favorite players on the team, unbelievable playmaker, but not a lot of people in the NFL know about him yet. DJ Locke, Caden Stearns, these guys have so much potential. Alex Singleton's flying around everywhere. So they're not going to get a lot of love, but we've got some decent players on this roster. It's not as terrible as you think it is. And if we really continue to focus on player development, something that Sean Payton and the staff have shown that they can do really well, because a lot of guys took a big step from year one to year two. So I'm expecting that for year one to year two with a lot of these new guys. I think Riley Moss can really take that next level. I think Drew Sanders, who ultimately I think is going to play inside linebacker, I think he's going to be able to take a huge step forward. Marvin Mims, I think this is his year, man. I think he's going to be a baller. I think Julian McLaughlin's going to take that next step and be more in that Camaro role where he's featured. So a lot of these young guys, I think, can take some steps and hopefully continue to develop. So I'm a little bit more optimistic on the state of the Broncos. I think we needed to cut some of the fat, and we did that. And we've re-signed some of our guys that wanted to be here, and are going to be integral parts of being able to continue to build up that culture. Lastly, before I go, another move we made, Broncos signed Matt Peart. Sorry, I totally forgot about this. The Broncos signed offensive tackle Matt Peart, former third-round pick. I think he played at UConn a couple of years back with the Giants, 2021 draft. So he was pretty highly touted. He started, I think, 7 or 8 games, something like that. Played in 400 snaps a couple of years ago. His PFF grades are all over the place. He had they were pretty poor last year, but they were pretty decent in years in the past. He plays left tackle, he plays right. Seems like he actually plays better when he plays left. And but anyways, he's a great swing tackle. I think it's something that we needed. I was interested in maybe bringing Cam Fleming back, but this is somebody that kind of projects to be like Cam Fleming, but much younger and with a significantly higher ceiling. And so I think it's a really solid signing. And these are the kinds of signings that you're going to just expect this year, right? As we're eating the big cap hit and all that stuff. So, good signing there. I think a swing tackle, a depth offensive lineman is always something that's really good. And by all means, it seems like Matt Peart is somebody that, like I said, still has a really good ceiling, is still young, and it's cheap on a 1-year deal. And that is what I would consider like a perfect signing for a team that's rebuilding. Bring in young guys that can potentially project to be really good and see what the hell they can do, So anyways, thanks for riding with me, guys. I appreciate it. This is hopefully, this video is a little bit, I wanted to put some content out because there's some things that I was thinking about, but it's been a long day. So hopefully the energy was low. I apologize about it, but appreciate you guys riding with me. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I love to discuss. I love replying to you guys in the comments. I'm super appreciative of it. And like I said, anybody that wants to get on the channel, man, you guys are always more than welcome. So a mile high salute to you guys. And as always, peace out. Have a wonderful night.